This is the Aston Martin Heritage Podcast.
Thank you very much for joining us. And this is another special edition because today we are actually at Aston Martin Lagonda Gaydon. And with me, I have Sue Gibbons, who's the operations manager, showing some of the details of the trust to the employees, and also have Steve Waddingham, AMHT trustee and AML historian. Hello, Steve.
Hello, Gary. Good morning. Welcome to Gaydon.
Pleasure. It's been a while since I've been here, and it's had a lovely makeover, hasn't it?
It has. I mean, yeah, probably since the last time you were here, it's had a complete, very extensive makeover, top, bottom, in the factory, in the office areas, everywhere, including our lovely canteen.
Why are we here, Steve?
Well, really, a few months back, or probably more than a few months back, there was an episode where you were at the open day that we had here, and when I listened to that, I realised that you spoke to quite a few members of staff. And today, really, I'm hoping that I can spot quite a few people that I know that have been here and done interesting things over the years and bring them over and get them to tell us more about what they do. So really, it's kind of building on what you did with the previous podcast with the open day, really, building on that.
So, Steve, I think what we'll do, we'll just park it for the moment, see what we can find and share some stories.
Growing the passion, sharing the stories. The Aston Martin Heritage Podcast.
Hello, Debbie.
Hello, Wadders. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. Yeah.
Good.
So tell the listeners back home who you are and what you do, or what you've done for that matter, Debbie.
Oh, okay. Right. I'm Debbie Busby. I work in Q and special projects. So we've been dealing with a lot of the special cars that have been created, the limited runs, etc. Valkyrie's been a key focus in the last few years, along with a few other wonderful cars. And it's been great fun. Very interesting. The cars are fantastic and always good to meet the customers too. Before that, I was a PA to the Vice President of Special Projects, and I also worked in factory tours, organising the factory tour crew and everything that went on in the atrium for the VIP visits.
Yeah, I mean, say lots of people will be listening and thinking, oh, that's Debbie. We know Debbie. We remember Debbie from factory tours or maybe Goodwood Revival or Goodwood Festival of Speed, where you're always there as part of the hospitality team, aren't you? So
I am, for my sins, yes, part of the hospitality team. Goodwood's always great. It's a really, really good atmosphere. I have a personal preference for Revival over Festival of Speed because that is wonderful to see the place transformed into you go back in time. The clothes are marvellous. The settings are fantastic. And I love the old cars. Festival of Speed's good as well. It's really lovely and such a good form of everybody that comes enjoys it. And it's an exciting event.
Yeah, it's fair to say you are very much part of the team here at Gaydon. Everybody here knows you, I think, pretty much. I've said we've known each other for many, many years, haven't we?
Probably quite a few years, Wadders. I'd say about 11 at least. Yeah, it's a good while. No, it's nice when you work somewhere and you've been there a while. You get used to people, you get used to the place, and it is cosy, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, I was about to say the word family. I think you hear that a lot here, don't you? It's an Aston Martin family. Yeah. And our family is worldwide, and it includes owners and dealers and people that we just know through various walks of life that interact with us. And it's one great big family, really, isn't it?
It is. And that, again, is, as you say, when you go to an event, it's lovely because you might not have seen somebody for a year, but you get to have a catch up again. And that's always great. It is a bit like, as you say, going to a family reunion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're very lucky, aren't we?
Yeah, we are very lucky. So, so lots of different things. And I think going back to Goodwood, it's one of those events that gets bigger every year.
Yeah. And we see often the same people every year that come along and to say hello to us that we've met through various walks of life and different situations. And it's lovely, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's good fun. The getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning is not so much fun to avoid the traffic. But, apart
we've done
from
that a few times, haven't we?
We have. Yeah.
Yes, very much so. Well, Debbie, it is lovely to see you. Thank you for coming over to say hello to us.
Thank you very much, Wadders. Great to speak.
Take care. Bye.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is Leon, who has got various roles, and I'll let him tell you all about those. But
all right, okay. Leon, come on, crack on.
Hi, yeah. I work in trim shop. I produce on 1 week seats for AM5, 6 and 7.
Yeah.
And also lightweights. On another week, I will be on steering wheels. Producing again AM5, 6 and 7 plus DVX 707. Speaking to the lady, telling her about the glue that we use to activate on the steering wheels, whereas you get one shot at it due to the HOD pad that's on the interior.
Right.
Hands-on detection. And then the following week, I'll work on rear environment within gangs 2 and 3. And that's all interior trim.
How long have you been doing this for?
Since 2016.
So 9 years.
Yes.
8, 9
Yeah.
years. Okay. But
Absolutely.
any changes in those years?
From the launch of DB11 up to Valhalla now. I think the
Yeah.
Valhalla's an exciting time with that car. It's an absolutely beautiful car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just spoke to someone earlier. I think he's just doing some work. I think some work in the Valhalla for later in the year. That's going to be a great vehicle, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. I think the passion and this new guy, Adrian Allmart, hopefully can steer us in the right way. I'd like to think it's exciting times. I think we're going through difficult times though as well.
I think it's difficult times for the whole industry, isn't it?
Yes.
You know, it's just not the challenge is not unique to Aston Martin. You just have to knuckle down and hopefully it comes out all right in the end.
Fingers crossed on that one.
Yeah. Leon, thanks for your time.
All right, cheers.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Afternoon, Jack. How you
Hey,
doing?
Wallace. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Now, I think this will be quite a good little story to tell, won't it? And
Yeah, certainly.
do you want to tell everybody why you're here at Aston Martin and how it kind of came about?
Yeah, so grew up in a family that's rife with motorsport and automotive industry experience, and it led me to go to an engineering school, year 10 to year 13. So in year 10, 14 years old, our school, Silverstone UTC, had an exciting partnership with Aston Martin, and we came here for a tour when I was 14 years old, and it was yourself that actually gave the tour to our class.
Makes
And
me
so-
feel really old now, that does, Jack.
Yeah, now I'm 25 this year, so yeah.
Wow.
So it was some time ago. But it really sparked the interest. And then, worked as hard as I could at school, got the grades I wanted, and then got the apprenticeship here. So I came here in 2018 as a manufacturing apprentice, and I've been here for 6.5 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, no, so it's been...
It's amazing, isn't it? And I must admit, I think you told me this, you reminded me of the story about the school trip.
At Goodwood, I think.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
like, did I? And I couldn't remember it. And then I did remember the trip. But
Yeah.
and you weren't the only one, were you? There was another person that's here as well.
So from the same school, there was 3 of us that came here all at the same time to begin the apprenticeship, and all 3 of us are still here in the jobs we're in, super happy.
Oh, that's
No,
brilliant.
so it's a really sort of nice, happy ending to it.
And tell us a bit more about what you do now, because again, your job now is very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, God, I as I said, I started off as a manufacturing apprentice, and after I finished the apprenticeship, I ended up in commercial. So I did a year at Aston Martin Works as a sales apprentice. I went to motorsport marketing for 18 months, which was good, working with the F1 guys. And then I spent 2 years in VIP sales. So life for me was Valkyries, DBR22s, which was amazing, really, really good. But now, since July 2024, I've been in the Q team as a Q sales coordinator. So I look after all of the Q bespoke requests for the UK, South Africa, Europe, Middle East, and Asia Pacific regions. So, super diverse group of people, crazy request, super fun. So,
Yeah.
no, it's really good.
And we occasionally work together, don't we? You'll come to me and
Yeah.
you're looking for a historic colour, or you found something you're not quite sure what history is. So we do
Exactly.
actually work together quite frequently, don't we?
Yeah, indeed. There's often customers that have had Astons going back generations, and they want to, what's this colour that my dad had on his DB6, and they want
Yeah.
to put it on something new. So
Yeah.
it kind of, there's some really good ways through this department we can work together and carry stories forward. But yeah, no, it's good fun.
Yeah. And you're also part of the team that looks after people at big events like Goodwood. And we've
Yeah.
worked together before at Revival and
Yeah, certainly
Festival of
lucky enough
Speed,
to
haven't we?
attend those kind of events. Goodwood Revival is my favourite event of the year. It's epic. 'Cause,
Yeah.
we're around these beautiful new cars all the time, but we forget, it's easy to forget the rich history of Aston Martin. So going there, seeing the DB5s, DB4s and everything on track, it's magic.
Yeah. And what's your favourite Aston? What cars do you like?
That's so hard.
Put you on a spot there.
Yeah, I mean, it's basic DB5, probably DB5 Vantage is just, one of the most iconic cars ever.
Yeah.
But for me, when I spent my time at Aston Martin Works, one of the coolest things I got to drive was a V600.
Oh, yes. And that's a great car, isn't it?
Wow, blew my mind.
Yeah.
So they're up there. In the newer range, I'd take a DBX 707. I love my big cars.
Yeah.
That's what I'd take up the
Good
newer
car,
stuff.
isn't it? Great car.
100%.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And what about working at Aston Martin? What would you say is one of the best things about it?
It's a medium-sized company. It's not huge, and you get that opportunity to work really collaboratively with different departments. There's a lot of cross-departmental working. It's not at the bigger companies. You've got one job, you do that job, and that's it. Here, every day is different. You get to get involved with a lot of different projects. So
Chance to work on
forever
different things.
learning. Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite things about this place.
Brilliant stuff. Well, I hope there's many, many more years ahead of you, Jack.
100%. Yeah.
And thank you for telling your story. Thanks very much.
Yeah. Cheers, Wallace.
Cheers. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Hello, a gentleman has just walked up, and hello, who are you?
I'm Max Authors. I work in body and white engineering for research and development, working on kind of future model body and white content. I started in end of 2018 as an apprentice and worked my way through the apprenticeship scheme and joined on as a full-time engineer.
Okay.
After 4 years.
So what is body and white?
So body and white is all of the obviously, when you're building up the car, you start with the tub section. So that's the kind of underframe chassis. And then from there on, you have the structural panels and A-surface panels on top, which then obviously get painted. So that's your body in white before the paint. So that includes things like your front and rear wing panels, your substructure, but underneath those, trunk floors, things like that. So anything that gets painted, essentially.
Right. Okay. How long have you been doing this for?
Cool. What are we, 2025? 3-4 years now. 4 years.
Right. So you're hang
for
on,
a while.
tangled up with the headphones. Here we go. Oh, you're a relative youngster, because we had a few people here that have been here about 25 years, from Newport, Pagnell and Broxton.
Yeah.
You enjoying it?
Definitely, yeah. So Aston Martin, obviously, huge name. And when I was looking for something as an apprentice, when it came up as an opportunity, I really wanted to put my name in the hat. And after getting that position and working my way through the apprenticeship, I found that engineering was something that really stuck with me. So I wanted to stay in there and found that body and white was a nice fit. So
where do you want to move to from there, do you think? You said you sound like you like engineering.
Definitely, yeah. Engineering is definitely something for me. I find it just super interesting how everything fits together and works.
So you did your apprenticeship here?
Did, yeah. Starting in end of 2018.
Okay. Do you recommend... Apprenticeships seems to be coming into vogue now, aren't they? They're getting some traction.
It's a good way to get yourself into industry, and Aston Martin put me through my degree as well. So I did my engineering degree with Ulster Brooks through Aston Martin.
Right.
So rather than going directly into a degree and coming out with a lot of debt, I could go into something, get lots of experience in various departments, an interesting company, work, and save some money at the same time. So I had a really good time doing my apprenticeship.
Perfect. So what are you up to today? End of February? What's your job? What are you doing today?
Lots of things I probably can't tell you about, to be honest.
Well, you can tell me. It's all right.
Future projects. So upcoming projects for the company. Obviously new model lines in years upcoming.
Were you particularly busy last year? Because Aston Martin had an onslaught of new
Very busy,
new
yes. Obviously, we had the new Vanquish coming out, so there's a lot of work going on with that. And prior to that, it was all the new next generation programs. So the DB12 and the update to Vantage and things.
And DBX.
And DBX updates.
So although it's been announced for Hala, that's going into production this year.
Yes.
So you're probably involved in that.
There's a lot of work going on with that. I myself am not quite involved with that, but we have a lot of people in my team running around doing lots of work on that at the moment.
You mentioned just before we started the podcast, there's a Facebook group, was it, on classic cars?
Yeah, so we have obviously a lot of people who work here are interested in cars, and we have a little group of people who get together every so often, and we have a nice event in the summer for employees called the Awesome Rides event, where we all kind of pick a day in the summer where we can bring our cars in on a Friday and then spend the afternoon driving off to somewhere nice location like Caffeine and Machine or something, and have a nice day out as a group.
What's the mix of cars? What flavors do you have?
It's a huge mix of cars. I mean, myself, I've got a few MGs and a Land Rover. I brought my Series 1 up last year.
I like MGs. You and I could talk MGs. Go on, what MGs you got?
I've got a MG Midget that I use as a rally car. I've just sold my MG Metro, which went last week. So that's just gone out of my garage. But yeah, I've had my Midget up here a few times for awesome rides. And brought the Land Rover up last year. We've had interesting Volkswagens, Carman gears. There's been a Ferrari out here before.
Yeah.
Lots of interesting cars around. People who have come from various other companies within the industry who have brought their love of, say, Ford across, or their love of Volkswagen, or wherever it is they've come from. And it's good to see the mix of cars, and we can always get on and have a chat. And
do you think it's important to be a car enthusiast to work for Aston Martin or any other car manufacturer?
I wouldn't say it's important.
Makes it better
in your job, but yeah, I think it can make it more interesting, and it means that a lot of the things that I think about in my work, I take back to my hobby as well. So I'm often, as we're doing designing and things like that, thinking about what are going to be the repercussions. Obviously, I'm into classic cars. 40 years down the line, when someone's restoring one of these cars, what are they going to think about the work we're doing right now?
Well, thank you very much for your time.
That's right.
Where are you off to now? Back to work?
Back to work.
Back to work.
Back to work.
Get out, otherwise you'll be in trouble.
Yes.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
So, good morning. Nice to meet you. Tell everybody your name.
Mr. Sahota, Rashpal Sahota, work for Aston Martin in the trim shop.
And how long have you been here for?
8 years, 2016 I started.
Yeah. So you've worked on DB11.
DB11, I started when DB11 came, and started up DB11, DB9 actually as well.
Yeah. Okay. And tell everybody what you actually do day to day.
I'm day to day, I'm a trimmer, upholsterer. I do most of the day to day trimming. Is it DB12? Yeah. And all the new vehicles.
Now, from what I know about what you guys do, in your head, you know how to trim lots of different parts of the car, don't you? So you'll pick up a piece of leather and a panel that you're going to put it onto, and you take it to your bench, and then you turn it into trim?
Yeah, we turn it into the trim. But like I said, when I came here first, I did no idea how to trim at all. I came from JLR. So yeah, people more experienced than me how to trim. And obviously I've learned over the years I can do every trim part in there. And that's it really. I can do there's gangs, 3 different gangs, DB or DBX is, the trim shop has different gangs, and then I work on all different gangs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how many panels do you think you know how to do? Hundreds?
I'm signed off on about at least 35, 40 parts, yeah.
Yeah. So you could come in today, you've no idea which one of those 35 parts you're going to be making.
Oh yeah. We're putting 3 different gangs, and then in the trim shop we stick to that gang. Say if somebody's off, I might have to go in a different gang, but there's 3 or 4 of us who know all the jobs inside there. Yeah.
Yeah. So you could pick up a piece, and it doesn't matter what order it comes in, what colour it is.
What colour it is, trim it, no problem. Even Lisa, I don't know if you know Lisa Swift. She has a IWO work.
Internal works orders. Yeah.
I do. I can do most of that as well. Yeah.
Well, with an IWO, so that would be where a customer's ordered a replacement part for whatever model it is, and they're the pieces that are trimmed at Gaydon as spare parts, aren't they?
Yeah, spare parts. Yeah, I don't know where they go, but all I know is I trim them and give them back to Lisa. She sends them back to. Is it customers?
That's right. Yeah, they go off and they come back. Yeah. Well, lovely to talk to you. Thanks for stopping by. Good to see you.
You too, Steve. Have a good one.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.
Of course, I just thrust this microphone under your nose while you're talking. So what's your name?
My name's Enrico Mariconda.
Enrico, so what are you doing now?
So now I'm working as a project engineer responsible for sealing systems and glazing on currently Vanquish. So that's all my work. The Roadster, before that DB9, the Vantage, the previous generation Vantage, and all the models that came from that, sealing, glazing. Yeah. So I'm Rapide as well.
It's quite a range of work going on here, Steve.
It is. Yeah. I mean, that's spanning well over 40 years, isn't it?
When I started work on the Virage, there were 5 of us in the drawing office, and there were 2, 3 product support engineers, and 4 working in 4 development engineers working in that. 2 were responsible for engine, 1 was responsible for the HVAC, and then there was 1 just responsible for chassis, ride and handling, and then we had all the workshop prototype technicians outside the office. So my second stint, it's been 23 years. My first stint was 4 years at Newport Pagnell. Yeah.
I was saying to Steve earlier that quite a few people that have come here from Newport Pagnell or even Bloxham.
Yeah. So yes, that's quite one of the things that this place has a hold on you. So as well as
you think you can escape, but they keep drawing you back.
Well, in my case, yeah, I've drawn back and stayed. Was drawn back and stayed. So yeah.
Perfect. Well, I know you said you got to rush to go over meeting, so I really appreciate your time. It's a pleasure meeting you. Thanks for your time.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you. Thanks.
Hello, Mark. Good afternoon. Good to see you.
Good afternoon, Steve. Yeah, it's very nice to see you.
So tell everybody that's listening who you are and what you do and how long you've been here for.
So my name's Mark Trinder. I've been with the business 24 years just this month. I was always paint background before coming to Aston Martin in many accident repair shops for 20 so years. Took the opportunity to get in Aston Martin at Bloxham at the time, 2001. Worked there for some 18 months before coming over to Gaydon as part of the commissioning team for paint shop. And ever since, every problem in paint shop has been my fault.
And so when you started here at Gaydon, what were the first cars that came through for painting? Can you remember?
I can. So the first cars that came through for painting that we really commissioned the paint shop on were the DB7 Zagatos, Roadsters and Coupes.
Oh, Coupes as well. I remember the Roadsters.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we commissioned the paint shop on those before going into DB9, of course. Was the car, which was a massive uplift for us in technical stuff at the time.
Well, it's funny. We've been talking to various people today, and quite often things come out in conversation that you almost forget about, and a lot of people won't be aware of. So if you've got a DB7 Zagato, it could have been painted at Gaydon, and if it's an AR1, the American Roadster, it definitely was.
Absolutely.
And those cars were they were built at Bloxham, but they were brought back on trucks and they were road tested on the track that we had here at the time. So yeah, lots of like little hidden bits of history, really, aren't there?
I do remember, and I think it was before we started production on DB9, certainly through the paint shop. I think it was yourself and I. A customer came in who had a specific livery on his Aston Martins, pearl white with a green stripe.
Yes.
And we showed the gentleman around the paint shop, brand sparkling new it was at the time.
I do remember that.
A hint of overspray and anger at that point.
Well, I remember that the gentleman was from Boston, and the first time I ever met him, he was buying his first DB7 Vantage, and his words to me were, "Every car I own has a stripe on it." And my reply was, "Well, this one won't have." And I managed to get him to order a car without a stripe.
Oh, wow.
And then he actually waited for me to go on holiday when he put the order in for the AR1 with the stripe. And when I found out, I phoned him, and his wife answered the phone. And she said, "Steve, I'm so sorry. I did try to talk him out of it." And I said, no. I'm ringing up to say well done, because I think the car will look amazing with a stripe. And, if you think back to the shape of the DBAR1, it was very kind of reminiscent of the 50s kind of race cars with the twin cowlings behind the back of the headrest. Yeah. So, yeah, it kind of looked very, very smart. But it was the only one we did with a stripe.
Yes, well, there you go. See, part of history. And I even did some paint work on it as well. So
there we go. Both had a part to play on that one. And actually, if you think back, if you joined in 2001, you've been here ever since. And that's over 100,000 cars that have been built in that time, which is pretty amazing, really, isn't it?
It is amazing. Just in my time, really, how the company's grown from, Bloxham, with Newport Pagnell. I remember going over the first Christmas I was here to help get Vanquish out the door for customers.
Yes.
We went over in a happy bus, as we called it, and helped out the guys there. Although we weren't very popular because they were worried about their double overtime on Sundays going missing. But we managed to get away with it and introduce ourselves. So, it was very cottage industry, almost, people have always called it and referred to it. And then the leap to Gaydon, for that commissioning team, and then launching in 2003 was just crazy.
And it was a leap, wasn't it? Because when you say cottage industry, we're not even exaggerating. There really were cottages at Bloxham.
Absolutely. Yeah,
so we had a
different pieces.
farmhouse, and we had an old barn that was converted, and then we had the factory in the middle, and then we had a water mill behind that. So it really genuinely was a cottage, wasn't it?
It was very
and we
much
built
so.
up to 1,000 cars per year, and that was it. So
Yeah, very much so.
to go from that to where we are now is a big step change, isn't it, really?
It is. And I was very lucky, really, in hindsight, to go and help to be part of commissioning for Rapide paintwork over in Magna Steyr.
Oh, yes.
And at that time, I thought,
in
well, I'll
Austria.
work in a big factory. And then I saw Magna Steyr and realised what a big factory is.
Yeah.
You know, crazy. So,
Yeah,
yes.
that's true. Yeah, I guess we're both similar. We come from garage backgrounds, and I've only ever really worked at Aston Martin. So to us, it's big, but it's not really big, because when you go to a big car factory, you have to drive around it, not walk around it. And,
Absolutely.
yeah.
That was a great experience for me, and really my first introduction to paint robots and things, which obviously latterly came here, and now at St. Athan massively, of course.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But as I know that you've obviously moved on from your paint background, and nowadays, tell us what you do as your day-to-day job.
Nowadays, I'm technical training team leader. So anything really to do with assisting and helping any technician, from body construction through trim shop into the heritage over at Newport Pagnell as well. Paint shop obviously being close to my heart. Anybody on the line. So DC tooling, F-gas, EV obviously is massive at the moment. We've trained literally over 1,000 people on site now with EV in the EV Centre of Excellence we've created over in the Quartermasters building. So that's kind of my day-to-day stuff. We dabble a little bit with early careers as well to support there. So yeah, myself and two other guys all come from technical jobs within the business.
Yeah, I mean, both of us work every year. Whenever there's a new intake of apprentices and graduates, we both get involved on those
Absolutely.
first couple of weeks,
First
don't
couple
we?
of weeks, yes, where they're all still super enthusiastic.
Yeah, and what's been lovely today is one or two of them have come over, people that we met on those days when they started their career. So first day of their career, they met us two, and now they've come back over, and it's like 6 years later or whatever it is.
Crazy,
and
isn't
it's
it?
Great, isn't it? Watching people grow.
It is. It is great. I feel like a proud father sometimes. I did have, funny you should say that, I did have a request for training for a senior engineers team. And this was one of the guys that was an apprentice when we had, were more hands-on with the apprentices. So I remember him walking in the door on the first day, and he's now coming to me and asking for training for his team.
For his team, yeah,
which is
exactly.
fabulous.
It's great, isn't it?
It
really is.
It really is.
Yeah. Well, Mark, it's lovely to see you. Thanks ever so much for telling us all about what you do and what you've done. And I'll see you soon.
Yeah, will do. I'm staying here for a bit longer yet.
Yeah. Well, enjoy your 24th anniversary.
Thank you.
And here's to all the ones after that.
Yes, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Mark.
Steve.
Bye-bye.
So just outside the canteen, and I'm standing next to
Mark Bowden-Maunder.
Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you do here, Mark?
I'm wheels and tyres engineer. I'm in my third phase of Aston Martin working. First worked on DB7.
That was at Bloxham, was it?
It ended at Bloxham. I was actually with Jaguar Sport when we engineered the DB7, and then introduced it at Bloxham to stop making the 220 there and made the DB7.
So that was your first phase, you say?
Yeah, that was my first stage, and I was just saying to the lady, I'll always be quite proud of that one, because that took it from making 2 or 3 cars a week or whatever it was at that time over at Newport to 600 and something was the target for DB7. So it may not have been the very best car in the world, but it brought it back to volume and to small volume.
Yeah.
So I was very proud of that one. That was the jump, but it was a real jump because it was facilitising the factory and everything, and I was principal chassis engineer at that time.
Right.
So there were only 3 or 4 of us in chassis at that time, and now there's, I don't know, 20 or 30. Then second time I was here for 12 years, and I was manager of wheels and tyres, and that ended a few years ago, and I left, and then I've come back doing a bit of contract work, helping out the old team. So
what's involved being a manager of wheels and tyres?
So that's basically supported. You're responsible for apart from special vehicles, you're responsible for every wheel and tyre combination that goes out on the vehicle. So splits into 2 quite easily, wheels and tyres.
Right, wheels and tyres.
Yeah.
But there must be so many combinations these days for the model range you have.
Yes. I couldn't tell you the number now, but it is a phenomenal amount because you've got to think every wheel style. We never have the same front and rear. They have different size front and rear.
Yes, of course.
And then you've got 2 TPMS frequencies for different places, the tyre pressure monitoring for different places. Then you've got the different colours.
The tyre pressure monitor has come up on my car, so I'm going to have to get you to come out and have a look. Every time it goes cold, so you ought to blame for this, are you?
Could be. No, I'm going to blame the electrical group because they would do the calibration.
Okay, well, point me towards them then.
I'm sure we can sort that out later. And then you've got more than one tyre sometimes for the same vehicle. So every time you do one of them, it goes out because it multiplies each time. So you're into thousands, certainly high hundreds, thousands quite early on.
So today, and towards the end of February, what are you up to?
Kind of working as component engineer now and supporting the team. So
you say you're a contractor, so you come in when you're needed.
Yeah, and don't do full time anymore. So I'm getting older.
You're doing yourself down. But it's great for you that you come and join us. You've seen some of the photographs here, haven't you?
Thank you for the look. Yeah, I was trying to picture myself. I should be on a couple of them, but my eyes aren't good enough to see really. But
thanks very much for your time.
Thank you. Very nice to meet you. Take care.
Hi, Matthew. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Yeah, good to see you. So tell everybody what you do and how long you've been here and what you've been up to, really.
Okay, so I've been a Grade B interior trimmer for 2 years.
Yeah.
Building mainly the steering wheels, seats within the company for all sorts of cars. Yeah, DB11, DB12, Vantages, the works, the new Vanquish as well. So
brilliant stuff. And we first met each other, I think, at Goodwood, did we? Is that right? I'm trying to think how you first approached me and said that you wanted to get on in the company and do different things.
Yeah, I think it was just before Goodwood. I think we had like a brief meeting before, didn't we? That was a late one, I think it was about. And then, we mainly got more kindling over Goodwood, didn't we?
Yes, yeah, that's right. And you've been doing other things as well as working on the production line. Just tell everybody what else you've been trying to do.
Yeah, sure. So when I came in with like a mission to obviously excel my career. So in the spare time in my first 2 years, I got to know loads of people around the company, and speaking to them got me into sort of a load of different roles in which I did over the last year or year and a half. That includes sort of partner track days at Silverstone.
And you were doing this in your own time?
In my own time,
weren't you?
yeah.
So you basically volunteered to work for free, to get experience in different parts of the business that you were interested in potentially working in.
Yeah. So around maybe, I'd probably say 60 days last year, where I'd start work at 6 on production, finish at 2, and then drive to Silverstone at around 3, work till 6. And then when I had a late night shift till 2 p.m. till 1 a.m., I'd come in, go to Silverstone at 6 a.m., work till 1, and then come here and work till 1 a.m. here. So 60 days of doing that last year. It was knackering, and obviously doing Goodwood as well, and a couple of launch events as well.
Yeah.
Just all in the spirit of wanting to excel my career and gain a lot of knowledge as well.
That definitely caught my attention when you told me that you were doing these things, because reading through the history books, people over the decades have done similar things and have really thrown themselves into getting involved in whatever was going on at the time. And here we are, in the current times, and there's people like yourself still willing to do that.
100%. I'm hoping to do more this year too. Yeah. So
good. That's brilliant. Well, best of luck with that. And I you keep working the way you're working, and I'm sure you will find yourself in a different role at some point. But good to see you again. Thanks for coming over to talk to us.
Yes, it's been an absolute pleasure seeing you again, and hopefully we'll see more of each other over the next year or so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, best of luck, and thanks again.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Matthew. Thanks. Bye.
So it's afternoon time in the canteen, and this gentleman has wandered up. Hello, gentleman. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Neil Simpson.
Neil Simpson. Thank you for popping in. What do you do here at Aston Martin, Neil?
Well, I work in the design department But,
Oh, okay.
yeah, but actually we do non-cars. So I look after a small team of designers who work with our partners. So these are non-automotive partners, watches, motorbikes, helicopters and the like.
Oh, okay. So is that still going on, is it?
Yes, yeah, very much so. And we work very closely with Formula One. So we do their merchandising and clothing for both Formula One and for Aston.
Because we're getting into a new season of Formula One, and there's probably a new thrust of merchandising and partnerships. Can you say anything what's coming up?
Well, obviously, the new season starts very shortly, so we have new partners you may have seen in the press.
I think it's a first time a beauty product, isn't it?
Well,
Elemis?
Yeah, that's true. We work with them on a small scale, but we also work with Puma and Boss, who are our big clothing partners. So that's been very exciting for us.
Yeah. What's involved in dealing with these partners? You say it's in the design side of things. So so how does that fit together?
Well, we really translate the values of Aston Martin to our other partner products. So we sit physically within the design department. We work with the car designers when we need to. So it's really translating what we do in the car world into other products, whatever that may be. But obviously we have to protect, from a simple point of view, our colours, our branding, but then obviously our design, integrity. We have a number of brand values that they all have to adhere to. But every new partner has an immersion with us, so we get to share our values, and then we visit them quite often. So it's very much a partnership, a collaboration of similar-minded companies.
You mentioned helicopters earlier.
Yeah.
Is that still going?
Yeah, that is. I think we're on about helicopter number 21 or 22.
Oh, really? Okay.
A huge success for Airbus.
I was fortunate enough to go with Steve Waddingham to the Aston Martin Arcadia in Japan in November 23, and a gentleman, popped in, flew in with his Aston Martin helicopter. It's a cracking looking design, lovely piece of design work, isn't it?
Yes. Well, we did have a young guy from Melbourne who picked up his helicopter here and flew it home, which was quite impressive.
To Melbourne?
Yes, he came with a group of mates. They were all pilots and they took it in turns. And I think you can find that story in one of our magazines. That was quite an epic adventure.
What do you do on the helicopters?
Well, helicopters are actually, although they're expensive products, they are quite industrial. So we retrim them to Aston Martin standards, so that all the soft finishing, the leather work, all very much mimics our cars, the quilting, the perforations that you find, and they all have a unique paint scheme. So there's a similar graphic design, but they get to choose their own colours. They do look quite striking in the flesh.
I didn't realise you got that number in helicopters. That's quite. I thought this sort of thing had stopped, but clearly carrying on.
No, I don't think we communicate it enough, but it has been an enormous success. Same with the motorbikes. We've done a second version of a bike that we did with Brough Superior.
Yeah.
So these are track only. So
that's it. Is it the Pro ones? Is it?
Yeah. The second one's called the Pro, so it has more aero because it's a boost in power. So it's now 225 horsepower, which is quite impressive, and lighter than the first one. So it needs a few more aerodynamic aids to help you keep the wheels on the ground.
Right. And you said something about watches as well. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, we have a partnership with Gérard Perregaux, a high-end Swiss watch manufacturer. I think we've done 6 now, including a Formula One watch. That's another partner who loves to have share the storytelling of Aston Martin. So, for instance, we did a Formula One watch, and it was limited. The number of watches was the same. It equated to the length of the Silverstone Grand Prix in kilometres, and it actually had some of the Formula One cars in the watch, in the casing of the watch.
Oh, marvellous. What are you working on at the moment that you can say?
Yeah, that's a good question. What am I working on that I can say?
Nobody's listening. You can tell me.
Well, we actually, one of the specialist things we do, we work a lot on individual customers' vehicles. We work on driver packs. I'm actually working on some race suits and helmets at the moment.
So is it a bit like the special, like the Q department, some special requests, they come to you?
We will work with the Q department, if
Yeah,
if there's a special request, yes.
And I think from what I understand under the new chairmanship, if you like, this specialisation is uniqueness is going to be pushed even harder for the future, isn't it?
Well, I think it is something that is quite unique within the industry. You only have to look in the car park, the colours of the cars and the finishes. You look down the production line here, every dashboard is different, and you just don't see that anywhere else. The customers have so much choice.
Yes, they do. Where did you come from? How did you get into Aston Martin?
Well, I was, as a lot of my colleagues, even in the product side, we were all car designers. So I trained as a car designer. And actually, I've kind of come full circle because I actually worked on the DB7 and the Vanquish. So I was a car designer before I became more of a product designer.
It's fascinating. I've met a few people here that sort of were involved in the DB7, and it's great to find out you're still here working with Aston Martin.
Yeah, absolutely. I never thought that would happen. It's really come full circle.
You going back to work in a moment once you finish your coffee?
Yes.
What's in your inbox?
I'm not sure I can tell you.
That's all right. I'm not doing very well. Okay. Do you work closely in Miles and Marek's design department?
Well, Miles is my immediate boss. So Miles looks after all exterior design and our department. So he's really close to that. It's very important to him. And he's very keen on clothing, fashion, shoes in particular, which is something we work on. But he's really enthused by everything we do.
What's next in the design department?
Something exciting.
Something exciting. They are a scoop. Thanks very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Right. Hello, Lisa. How are you?
Hello. Good afternoon.
Tell everybody at home what your name is and how long you've been here for.
So, my name's Lisa Swift. Been at Aston Martin, it's my 25th year this year.
So, 2000?
Yeah, started 2000 at Newport Pagnell. Was there for 3 years before coming over to Gaydon.
Right, okay. And I always associate you with a trim shop. So, in the year 2000, were you at the trim shop in Newport Pagnell? Or?
Yes. So, I started as a sewing machinist at Newport Pagnell. Working on, DB7.
Yeah, that's right. It was,
and
wasn't
then obviously moving over to Gaydon trim shop then as a sewing machinist. Then obviously being promoted to a lead technician. So yeah, running the sewing section, front and rear seats, the laminator. As part of the trim shop. I've always been part of the trim shop, to be honest with you.
Is that what you've always wanted to do?
Yes, yeah. It's it's a skill, and it's I've always said this within the trim shop. The technicians, they always make the job look easy. When we've had customers coming round, it's that job satisfaction at the end of the day, and it's nice to see the skills. It's nice that we've got the skills in-house, and it's nice to see that.
Well, you mentioned something a second ago, which a lot of people, if they're DB7 owners, their ears would have pricked up, because you mentioned that you were at Newport Pagnell, but trimming DB7s. And I think a lot of people don't realise this.
I heard that. Have I heard that correct? Yeah.
Yes, no, so in the DB7s.
Yeah, so
back in the day,
the DB7s were trimmed at Newport Pagnell, so all the parts were assembled and sewn together, and then the whole lot was shipped over in a lorry as a complete kit to go into the cars at Bloxham. So if you can imagine the whole interior, including the soft top roof.
Yes, that was a big job in itself. The soft top roof. I never actually was on that, but yeah, the rest of the trim. That's where, my skill with Aston Martin started. And then obviously coming over to Gaydon and working on every programme that's probably up until, obviously, I've moved away from that role now. But still
involved, but not on the
still
tools
involved
so
in
much.
trim. I now deal with after sales. So I deal with all the warranty requests that go through the trim shop. So any current model warranty requests, that's me who actually deals with them.
What's been the changes since the DB7 days to now on the trim side of things? New technology?
New technology. It's
still handcrafted.
It's very much handcrafted.
I guess it's things like alarm sensors or, all the
Yes.
modules that are in an interior nowadays. That's where the job's changed, isn't it? In the old days, cars, if you're lucky, had a radio with one speaker.
Well,
and over the
But
decades
the
of...
seat was just a seat.
It's exactly, yeah. Now
Yes,
they're
and
heated
obviously the
cooled.
interior was a lot more simple then. Now it's so complex. There's so many variants of leather, stitching, your quilting, embroidery, embossing. There's just so much more now on the seats.
And you mentioned the laminating machine earlier as well. That again, for people listening, that is effectively all the leather in the car has got some kind of padding on the back of the leather, even if it's only a fairly thin bit of memory foam, and that has to be put onto the leather, doesn't it?
Yes, you probably remember her actually, but I mean, Newport Pagnell days. Do you remember Doreen?
Yeah, I do.
Well,
yeah.
Doreen used to be the laminator, but when I say laminator, she used to hand glue all the foam panels on the back of the leather. We never had a laminating machine then. It was a glue bottle, and that was Doreen's job.
Yeah.
And then obviously when we moved over to Gaydon, Doreen moved to Gaydon as well, and then obviously she was over the laminator then for many years until she retired a few years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you think back to how it started at Newport Pagnell to how it's progressed now, with obviously, we had one foam then, one thickness of foam, and that was it. Now you've got so many variants of foams. You've got your and different materials of foams as well. Hackaflex and PU. You've got Superflex, and it's always it's changing on every program.
So really, what goes on below the skin of the leather, if you like, it has changed and evolved and modernised.
Massively,
but
yes.
the end result looks the same. It's a beautiful leather
yes.
interior.
And obviously you've probably seen yourselves with the when you look at the interior of the car, due to the thicknesses of foams, it gives you a different appearance on the front of the facing of the covers, if you like, and on the trim. That's changed massively as well.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all changed, but it's still the same at the end of the day to look at.
Still the same, still Aston Martin.
Still handmade.
Yes.
Well, here's in the next 25 years then, Lisa.
Maybe.
Lovely to talk to you.
And you.
Thank you for coming past. Bye-bye.
Well, Steve, that was most enjoyable. It was great to meet everyone. And tell you what I particularly was delighted with is we're in the canteen, people are on their lunch breaks or whatever, but everyone we approached, or they come to us as well, they did seem to want to spend some time to have a chat, didn't they? That was good news.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're a pretty chatty bunch at AML, and there's never a shortage of people to talk to about things. So yeah, and I think it just kind of reflects in how proud everybody is to work at Aston Martin Lagonda. There's a huge amount of pride, I think, running through the workforce. So yeah, I think that comes out loud and clear, really. Yes, there certainly was a pride going through there. What I was surprised about was the number that have come from Bloxham. Surprise to me. Is that a surprise to you? Not a surprise to me. I think, like you say, a lot of people would be probably quite surprised that we've got so many people harking back to the DB7 era. And that's noticeable. I mean, nowadays we're now seeing people coming up for their 25 years of service awards fairly regularly, and even 30 years as well. Quite a few people recently had their 30-year award. And of course, a lot of those joined back in the day when DB7 first started. So do they get an award? We last year we held like an awards dinner, so hosted by Adrian Hallmark, and the person sat next to him an award for 49 years. So he's actually going to be 50 years this year. I mean, bearing in mind as well, we don't have these every single year on a set day. It comes around at different times, and I think because of the pandemic, we'd missed out on a few people. So it was a great occasion to kind of congratulate people that had already had their 25 years, etc. But yeah, we've got somebody on board that's this year will be 50 years, and in fact, he actually started back in the previous regime days of the early 70s. So he was there. In fact, thinking about it, he joined when David Brown still owned the company. So there's a thing. He's probably the only person left. Wow. That actually worked for us in the David Brown period, albeit fairly briefly. It was only for about a year. But then, of course, the company was completely started from fresh, 1975. So really, services counted from 1975 onwards. But yeah, over 50 years, which is really incredible. And I say lots of people from Bloxham, and also quite a few people that started off their careers at Newport Pagnell back in the 90s or even 80s. In fact, there's a few people that I know at work that started in the late 80s. So yeah, it's a family. It's a family type feel to the business, and always has been. And it means that we've all kind of rubbed shoulders with people that have worked, going back over the decades. So when I first joined, there were a lot more people that were from the David Brown era. And some of those people at Newport Pagnell had originally worked for Tickford, which had then been bought by David Brown. So there was a connection to the Tickford days as well. But it's something I find fascinating as a historian. If you sat with a piece of paper, you could work out people that would have worked with people from previous, iterations of Aston Martin, and it would go all the way back to the Lionel Martin period. You would find people that worked in the 20s, rubbing shoulders and working alongside people in the 30s, the 40s, and 50s, 60s, and so on and so on. So right the way up to date, really, which is pretty incredible. I don't think many other brands would be able to have that long running continuity.
No, that is incredible. One of the things that did come out when we was in the conversation was some jargon, but one thing that did confuse me is something called AM5. Now, is that a scoop new model that nobody knows about?
Yeah, AM5, AM6, and AM7. I mean, basically that's a kind of an internal model code which started off with AM5 was DB11, 6 was Vantage, and 7 was the old DBS. And a lot of people tend to think in those three model types if you're at Gaydon. AM8 was the code for DBX. So yeah, it's not unusual for people at work to talk in a kind of a code, really, and particularly when things are still sensitive. When there is a new model, people don't tend to even know what the model is going to be called. So it's tended to be known by its code, and then that'll kind of carry on after the car's available to the public. So yeah, when talking about AM5, 6, and 7, it means the three different types of car, if you like, the Vantage models, the DB models, and the flagship, which at the moment, of course, is Vanquish.
Yeah. Well, Steve, I think we'll leave it there. Hopefully, we can go back to Gaydon and perhaps even St. Affin to the people there. I think there'll be some great stories there. So let's do that, and hopefully we do that again in a few months' time.
Yeah, that'd be great, wouldn't it? Yeah, look forward to doing that again. Definitely.
Yeah. So I think that is all for now until the next one. In between time, if you want to get in touch with any ideas for a future podcast or have comments, or even if you'd like to appear yourself, then do drop an email to podcast@amht.org.uk, and it'd be great to hear from you. Steve, great to be with you on this podcast, and no doubt I think we'll be doing another one again soon.
Yeah, thanks, Garry. It's been good fun today, and look forward to the next one.
Absolutely. Cheerio.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
You're listening to the Aston Martin Heritage Podcast. Discover more about the story of Aston Martin, the cars, the people, the history with the Aston Martin Heritage Trust. You're always welcome to visit us at our museum in Oxfordshire, so find out more via amht.org.uk.